世界杯是由国际滑冰联合会主办，由国家体育总局冬季运动管理中心、中国滑冰协会和北京市体育局共同承办。本赛季速度滑冰世界杯是自1985到1986赛季以来的第40届，总共这赛季有6个分站赛，中国北京为其中的第2站。这次北京站总共有来自24个国家和地区的260余名世界顶尖的速度滑冰运动员，将在国家速滑馆，将在冰丝带，将在。
The venue may have changed from a week ago, but Friday in Beijing saw many familiar faces on the podium, back for more hardware. Day 2 from the National Speed Skating Oval, better known as the Ice Ribbon, will see the sport's heaviest hitters trying for even more. The ISU Speed Skating World Cup continues in just minutes from now. Hi everybody, Gavin Day back for another night day, wherever you may be in the world of speed skating. This weekend we are, as you can tell, in Beijing. Night 1, as I had mentioned, saw the likes of Jordan Stolz and Miho Takagi back atop the podium, and they will be gunning for more today. Saw the schedule early on. It's the same as night 2 or day 2 from a week ago in Nagano, with 1,000 meters for men and women, 3,000 meters for women, and 5,000 meters for men. And will the streak continue for Jordan Stolz, or will someone upset the apple cart a little bit? And will the streak also continue for Miho Takagi, the home of the 2022 Olympics? There's a look inside the venue, inside the ice ribbon. It's a busy time for anything speed skating in Beijing. Of course, this weekend there is that event underway now, the Speed Skating World Cup. Next weekend, the short trackers are there, and then the short trackers are back for the World Championships in March. Lovely facility. The ice ribbon. Women's 1,000 meters first underway today. And a look at the current World Cup standings. Of course, in the distance, Miho Takagi taking week number 1 in Nagano. Angel Dahlman of the Netherlands, interesting there in 4th. Of course, getting on the podium yesterday in the 500 meters. The immensely talented long and short tracker starting to get some results at the senior level. Could she jump up onto the podium today? Of course, her own teammate Jutta Leerdam would love to keep her medal streak going as well. A look at the start list. 10 pairs in all. And just going through the start list, comparing it to last week, only a few skaters in and out. It's largely an identical start list. 3 changes in all. They were the 3 top skaters from the B division from the 1,000 meters last week who are now in the A division. Those skaters, Marit Flederis, Karolina Bosiek, and Yukino Yoshida. But other than that, every skater, 17 skaters who were in the 1,000 meters last weekend, are back for more today. A look at Vanessa Herzog, the Austrian skater from Innsbruck, but now on the ice. Pair number 1, Mia Manganello, the American veteran, and as I mentioned, Marit Flederis from the Netherlands. Manganello, imagine we will see her tomorrow in the mass start as well. Different contrast here. Manganello does have, of course, that distance experience. Flederis may be more of a 500-meter specialist, and the 1,000 meters really is a collision of those two philosophies. Flederis 8th in the 500 meters in Calgary at the World Championships at the end of last season. She was 3rd in the B division a week ago, so expecting her to go out quickly. Flederis from St. Nicolaasca in the Netherlands, and hey, with the holiday season, not a bad place to be from. A certainly festive name. She is leading the way. The 23-year-old Flederis at the bell, well in front right now. We'll see how much Manganello can close it. Manganello was 18th. She did do the 500 meters yesterday, but it is Marit Flederis well out in front. All of her international hardware has come in team events. Still nothing individually. Team sprint, largely her favorite event, and it is Marit Flederis going to take pair number 1. She will clock a 1:17.08, but yeah, Manganello closed things up, down a second and a half overall, but she pulled back nearly a second, or over a second, on that last lap. So solid finish by the American. Second pair. You see there, Karolina Bosiek. Second in the B division in the 1,000 a week ago. She's largely done her B division, but we have, of course, seen Bosiek quite a bit at the World Cup level. Lee Na-yoon, the Korean youngster on the outer lane. Bosiek was 5th in the 500 meters in the B division yesterday, and then 15th also in the B division. She certainly is one we've seen quite a bit in the 500 meters, so let's see if she's one of those fast starters just hanging on for the finish. Both the skaters in the green through the opening 200 meters. Everything through confidently on the crossover. No mishaps there, plenty of room for everybody. It is still Bosiek in front. Back in 2018 at the Olympics in Pyeongchang, she was Poland's youngest skater, just 10 days shy of her 18th birthday. Now she's going up against a skater who is 18, and it is Bosiek by about half a second at the moment. Both of them have dipped into the red. This crossover, a little more nervy. Everybody through, though. Bosiek goes over the top into the inner lane. We'll see if that might have cost any speed for Lee Na-yoon, but it's Bosiek right now, currently chasing the time set by Marit Flederis, and Bosiek does go into the green, 1:16.80. Last lap there, 30.92. Lee slipped to a 1:18.43. Final lap there at 32.06. And so, for the moment, Karolina Bosiek has the standard. We'll just point out, just in the case, the happenstance track record, Miho Takagi, 1:13.19. So, not really close to that mark just yet. But we do expect the speeds to go up and the times to come down as the pairs progress. Next pair, Béatrice Lamarche, the Canadian. And on the outer lane, Ayano Sato. Sato, another one of those skaters we often see in the 1500 meters. So when we're gauging time splits and everything, always in the back of our mind now, is this person really more of a sprinter, or is there a bit more endurance in the legs? And Sato, multiple Olympic medalist in team pursuit, so obviously has to have some endurance to hang around with her own teammates. Both skaters in the red. Lamarche with the faster opener. Sato, wonder if she got much of a draft there down the backstretch. Very much stride for stride, the skaters. Sato, 16th a week ago in the 1,000 meters. And it is Sato now in front, putting in a bit of a faster time. Lamarche, 15th. Sato, 16th a week ago in the 1,000 meters. In Nagano, of course, different ice surfaces. Everything changes from one week to the next. Some skaters just do better on different surfaces and different conditions, but it is Sato out in front right now. One hand on her back. She drives to the line and will go fastest by 0.06 of a second. Good finish by Sato. Again, talking about that last lap, that endurance. She really powered it on. 30.52 the last lap time to go 1:16.74. Lamarche going to 4th, exactly a second off the pace, 1:17.44. Actually, just under a second off the pace, 0.7 of a second. Nice finish by the woman from Hokkaido to move atop the leaderboard. Next pair, Yukino Yoshida of Japan against Natalia Jaberjuk of Poland. Yoshida did win the B division a week ago in Nagano. Jaberjuk from Tomarzów Mazowiecki, really the home of Polish speed skating. And in case you are actually watching on YouTube, me saying Tomarzów Mazowiecki has me remembering that the World Cup Junior Circuit is also underway right now, and that is where they are skating from this weekend. So if you don't have enough speed skating going on right now, keep an eye out for the link there and watch that. It is Yoshida with the fast opening. Jaberjuk was 14th a weekend ago. The World University Speed Skating Champion. And with 400 meters to go, Yoshida dipping back into the red. Jaberjuk closing it up by just over a quarter of a second. She will have to move into the outer lane, so we'll see. Did Yoshida start too quickly? She is looking a little bit labored. Yaberjuk hanging on to the lead. Yoshida losing her balance a little bit, and it is to the lead, Natalia Yaberjuk. 116.52, 116.91 for Yoshida going to fourth. And so Yaberjuk, actually, that's a new personal best for her. Knocking about a tenth of a second off her personal best time. It was 116.63. And now she's knocked 11 hundredths of a second off of that. So reason to smile for the woman from Poland. Next pair. Pair number 5. Vanessa Herzog of Austria. The veteran from Innsbruck. And Kim Min-soon, 5-year-old. So Kim, largely a regular on the podium in the 500 meters. Always that challenge, continuing that speed going. Kim, though, 7th in the 500 meters yesterday after landing on the podium in Nagano. And yeah, both of these skaters off like a shot. Both of them really strong in the 500. It's a matter of getting out quickly and then just trying to hang on, and it's Herzog with the faster opener. Kim, the skater from Seoul now, though, up on the inside. They will come up to the bell. One former skater told me about the 1,000 meters. It's not really one where you really need the bell. You have a feeling you know where you are when it's 2.5 laps. And if you're already skating a slower race, the bell maybe will add some desperation to your skate, but if you know you had a slow lap, there's not going to be a lot that's going to be able to close up a gap. Anyway, in this race, Kim still in front. And it will be Kim going to atop the leaderboard. Herzog slipping to 7th. Nearly 3/4 of a second faster that lap. Kim Min-soon 30.55 going 116.18 overall. And so Kim, the World Cup overall 500 meter champion from a few seasons ago, will sit atop the leaderboard for the moment, anyway. Just zipping right through these pairs. Ryo Yamada of Japan, 9th a weekend ago in the 1,000 meters. Starting on the inner lane. And their big star, Miho Takagi, just 2 pairs away. And then on the outer, Nadezhda Morozova of Kazakhstan. Morozova, always an interesting skater to kind of handicap. When you look at the events she does and try to understand maybe how she skates, she does just about everything. A very true all-rounder. She was 11th yesterday in the 1,500 meters. She raced the B division in the 500 meters, coming in first in that one. but then she also does 1,000 meters. So she does just about everything. And so she certainly has the endurance to keep up her speed. She was 11th a weekend ago. Rio Yamada was 9th in Nagano. And it is Yamada in front right now by 11 hundredths of a second, almost identical lap times. Just 8 hundredths of a second separating the two. We'll see if Morozova, her endurance can come through. Yamada is really very much an out-and-out sprinter. So her battle is hanging on, and it is Morozova coming to the line to take the pair and go fast as Yamada to second. 1:15.14 for Morozova. Yamada 1:15.54. So she was able to hang on very well. Dropped 7/10 of a second that lap. But Yamada very well hanging on to stay in the green. Yamada was 18th in the 500 meters yesterday. And she likes that one. Of course, skaters, it's not the fastest ice in the world. They're not up at elevation. An all-Dutch pair. Interesting one at that, too. Antoinette Reitma-de-Jong and Suzanne Schulting. Not sure if she's planning on sticking around in Beijing to link up with her Dutch Lions teammates. There is Reitma-de-Jong 7th a week ago. Schulting 8th a week ago. Now I know Schulting didn't take part in the opening short track events on the World Tour because of the ankle injury she suffered at Worlds last season. She said that the cornering was just still too early, too much for the ankle as it recovers. But here she is on the clap skates. And we'll see where her season goes from here. Of course, next weekend they are in Seoul. Are the long trackers as the short track comes to Beijing. So we'll see how her season plays out. Both skaters in the green. A week ago, Schulting was on a real flyer in the 1,000 meters and then stumbled a little bit right at the finish line. It kind of cost her a good chunk of time. Both skaters remain in the green. Schulting by nearly half a second. Reitma-de-Jong certainly does have a lot of endurance as well, so we'll see how she does trying to chase down her teammate. 7th and 8th last weekend. Very evenly matched skaters. It is still Schulting leading the way. And Suzanne Schulting driving both arms, kicking the leg out by nearly half a second. She goes green. 1:14.74. Reitma-de-Jong going to third with a 1:15.51. So Schulting not too far off her own personal best time. That was 1:13.97. And so, yeah, maybe about a second and a half off. But she likes that one. And now has the time to beat. But it may be fleeting. Because this pair, it all could change. Of course, on the inner lane, the woman of the hour, the Olympic champion. Just about unbeatable right now. Last weekend's winner, the winner of the 1,500 meters, Miho the Great. And the young pretender to the crown, Angel Dahlman, another one who, will she be in Seoul next weekend, or is she staying in Beijing to join up with her Dutch Lions teammates? Angel Dahlman on the podium yesterday in the 500 for the first time. There's Dahlman in the 1500 meters, throwing down a personal best, coming in third place. And it was Takagi on the front, and she is in the front through the first 200 meters. Dahlman not too far back, the 9th quickest opening. Let's see if she does get much of that slipstream effect. Takagi did go right out to the outside lane, did not give much of a draft, I don't think. The 30-year-old from Makubetsu, a small town on Hokkaido. Both of them now in the green. Look at that, 0.05 of a second separating them on that lap time. But Dahlman will have to go into the outer lane, and Takagi is just going to be sucked along. That is a beautiful slipstream, and she will get into the inner lane. It is the present and the future going up head to head, and it is the present who's going to take it. Takagi goes fastest, 1:14.62. Dahlman just a few hundredths faster, but she goes to third with a 1:14.91. And is it another winning time for Miho Takagi? 2 pairs still to come. But she assumes her usual position atop the leaderboard. And so at the moment, it is Takagi leading in second. It's Antoinette Wright-Medellin and Angel Dahlman. But here's Brittany Bowe on the podium a week ago. The American veteran once again proving form is temporary, class is permanent. Jutta Leerdam, 25-year-old from the Netherlands, already on the podium this weekend, looking for more. First, my apologies. I believe I got my Dutch skaters confused in that pair. It was Wright-Medellin winning the pair ahead of Suzanne Schulting. Wright-Medellin going 1:14.72. Schulting 1:15.51. Anyway, into this race. Through the opener. Both of the skaters in the red. But they do know how to pace themselves very well. Brittany Bowe a hair faster in that pair. Leerdam now just trying to chase her down. She does have the inner lane advantage right now. One thing you notice watching Jutta Leerdam, she just has such long strides. Other skaters have the quick turnover. She just keeps them ticking over. She will go back into the outer lane right now. That time by Dahlman in the last lap, a 1:14.90. That was a personal best for her by just about 0.2 of a second. And at the line, Bowe and Leerdam can't quite do it. Leerdam a 1:15.23. Bowe a 1:15.36. And so they go 5th and 6th. And a shake of the head from them. Both of them were on the podium a week ago. Leerdam second, Bowe in third. And so it will be a different podium in the 1,000 meters this weekend. one final pair to go. And it is a teammate of Bo, Kimmy Getz of the United States. In the outer lane on the inner is Han Mei, the 26-year-old, skating on home ice. Big ovation for Han Mei. 6th weekend to go, and Kimmy Getz looking to find some of that form that she had in the early going last season. Gets 10th in the 500 meters yesterday. And 20th in the 1500s. So still looking for that form that got her on the podium a couple times in the first few weekends last season. Gets quicker opening by about 2/10 of a second. 3rd fastest overall. 30-year-old from New Jersey. Kudos to any of her family staying up to watch. It's about 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And with 400 meters to go, it is still Getz with the faster time. Han Mei with the faster lap. Getz has about 13/100ths of a second to work with in this pair, but she has some work to do to climb onto the podium. This last lap, crucial, and it's Han Mei on the inner lane. We'll get the chance to close right up. This could be Han Mei's pair. It's Han Mei out in front. Can she reach the podium? No, she's just off it. 1:14.92, 1:15.45, 8th place for Getz. And of course, you know that means another gold medal going to Miho Takagi. She is, at the moment, just simply unbeatable, isn't she? Another gold medal, a second one for the weekend for Takagi, winning the 1,500 meters, now winning the 1,000 meters for women. And we'll get this corrected now. Antoinette Reitma de Jong of the Netherlands in second with a 1:14.72. Angel Dahlman, 1:14.90 for her second medal of the weekend. Second bronze medal on the weekend. Reitma de Jong. Smile from her. Silver medal. But a very ho-hum kind of warm down for Takagi. She just won again. Confirmation. Takagi once again looking down from on high to her teammates. 10th of a second the difference, though. Reitma de Jong certainly made it interesting. Dahlman, another trip to the podium for the young skater from the Netherlands. Dutch going 2 and 3. Han Mei heartbreakingly close, just 1/100th of a second off the podium, and all the way down for the rest of the field. Quickly turning things around, not long now, until the men's 1,000 meters. Just going to take a quick pause and jump back in with you in just a moment. Start list for the men 1,000 meters. Once again, 10 pairs, 20 skaters. You know the drill by now. The one to watch for, of course, will be pair number 8. There it is. Jordan Stolz. Can he keep the streak going? He just keeps winning. Making it... throwing down the challenge to the rest of the world. Come and get me. He knows he's a wanted man, but there is nobody who has been able to match him just yet. The world all-around champion. The man who, in maybe a year and a half's time in Milan, will be one of the huge, huge Olympic stories. There he is. Wonder what the game plan is.
Ladies and gentlemen, next on track is 1,000 meters men.
女士们、先生们，接下来在赛道上将要进行的是男子1千米 A 组的比赛。
First pair.
发言员邓雪峰。
Up on the ice. Skater from Germany in the first of our Dutch men of the weekend. Or the night, the day. Second day of competition. There you have it. Stefan Emela. 17th. A weekend ago in Nagano. And Timon Snell. He was third in the B division last weekend in Nagano. Snell will be an interesting one to watch. He was 13th in the 1,500 meters yesterday, but also has done a fair amount of sprinting in the 500s as well. So we'll see where his strength lies. That's what the endurance is. Snell, the winner of the B division in the 1,000 on this oval last season. And it is Snell getting that draft as they cross over. Emela was 7th in the 1,500 meters yesterday, 27th in the 500 meters. Very even pair heading into the final lap, a matter of a few hundredths of a second right now. Snell the faster. But Emela does get that nice draft down the back stretch. Shaping up He attacks that corner, and it's Stefan Emmele, the German, who will set the fastest time, 109.10. So, just about 0.4 of a second faster that last lap. And Emmele, pair number 1, sets the time to beat. Second pair. Damian Zurek of Poland and Joep Venemars of the Netherlands. Zurek didn't do the 1,000 in the opener last weekend. Really, maybe more of a 500-meter specialist. So we'll see if he goes out quickly. They'll be called back. Not going to be a false start since the gun didn't go off, mind you. Maybe it was. Either way. And let's see, there was a little bit of movement there. Yeah, Zurek. And as I read that wrong, Zurek was 16th a week ago in the 1,000 meters. And they did credit him with a false start. It's always a call of the referee, and that one merited a false start. This time they are away cleanly. Zurek, bronze in the World Championships in Calgary in the 500 meters, so we'll see if he has the faster opening. If you do recognize the name Venemars, yes, that is Urban's son. Of course, Joep wanting to write a name for himself in the sport, the young man. Second in the B division a week ago in the 1,000 meters. Get a nice bit of draft down that back stretch. Joep Venemars 15th in the 1,500 meters yesterday. At the bell, both of the skaters in the green. Venemars by almost a second. He's really in survival mode as the guy who does a lot of 1,500 meters. Pushing it on, trying to use that endurance. Zurek with the 500 meter specialty, just trying to hang in there. And it is going to be Venemars taking the pair and going to the top of the leaderboard, 108.57. Zurek goes to third. Escape from Venemars, 108.57. Just a hair over a second off of his fastest time. His personal best set in Heerenveen back in February. We'll see how long that time stands up. And there is the next pair, Zach Stoppelmoor of the United States, Petter Kongshaug of Norway. Stoppelmoor, the winner of the 500 meter B division yesterday. This again will be another one of those contrasting races with Stoppelmoor the really pure sprinter, 500s and 1000s. Peter Kongshaug does do distance events as well, so if he's anywhere close to the opener, or close to Stoppelmoor on the opener, he's in for a good race. But yeah, it's Stoppelmoor pulling out 0.6 of a second in just the opening few hundred meters. And the rabbit is off in front. Kongshaug now just trying to chase him back down. Kongshaug 15th a week ago. Stoppelmoor 14th in this distance. And so he has a second to make up on Stoppelmoor in one final lap. Stoppelmoor is about a half a second off the pace set by Venemars. Very close on the crossover there, but everybody through just fine. Yeah, he's gritting his teeth now. Stoppelmoor just trying to hang on. He is going to take the pair. Where will he finish? He will go 5th. 109.57, 109.80 for Kongshaug. Really did pull it back on the last lap, just not by enough. Just interesting, this 1,000 meter race where you do have that 500 meter specialist who can go out like a shot, and then the distance racer who skates his own race and closes it up at the end. That time it's the sprinter, Stoppelmoor, the pure sprinter, I'll say it, taking that pair. Next pair, Kim Min-suk of Hungary and Masaya Yamada of Japan. Interesting seeing Kim in that Hungarian suit. Of course, he's a two-time bronze medalist in the Olympic 1500 meters, bronze in Pyeongchang and bronze from right here in Beijing as well. But he has made that switch to compete for Hungary. Very close opening 200 meters between the two. And Kim also won the B division in Nagano last weekend. He's already raced today as well, has Kim. He raced the B division for the men's 5,000 meters. So we'll see how the legs are feeling. Completely different race. Yamada is the one in front right now. Yamada was 13th last weekend in the 1,000 meters. But it is Kim who will have that inside lane coming around. Yamada out in front for the moment. Not anymore. It's Kim who is coming around to take the pair, and he will go to 6th with a 109.58. 110.03 for Masaya Yamada, and he will go to 8th. So Kim Min-suk, he was 8th in the 1,500 meters yesterday, 28th in the men's B division today, and now he puts in a time for the 1,000 meters. Next up, Moritz Klein of Germany and Tatsuya Shinama of Japan. Shinhama, already a bronze this weekend. Just one of the best pure sprinters in the world. So much power in that body. Bronze yesterday in the 500, bronze a week ago in 500 meter number 1, a silver in 500 number 2, and as you would expect, off with a blazing start, 16.38 through 200 meters. And he will get a nice little bit of draft there, but I think he is going faster than Klein, so he's not going to want to get too close and risk any sort of collision there. But Shinhama coming up, still in the green by 0.15 of a second. His matter now. He's just got to hang on. He was 12th in the 1,000 meters. When I say he's a pure sprinter, he is a pure sprinter. Can really put it up numbers in the 500 meters. The 1,000 is a bit more of a battle. That endurance just not there when you're such a strong guy in those short distances. He is going to take the pair, and he will go fastest, hanging on by 0.09 of a second, 1:08.48. Tatsuya Shinhama goes fastest for now as we enter the second half of the men's 1,000 meters. That just means a lot more faster skaters still to come. But through 5 pairs, Shinhama is P1. And I believe that means, since he's first now, he is on course to better last week's 12th place finish in the 1,000. Joop Venemars to second by just 0.09 of a second. And then a pair of German skaters. Next on the ice, Laurent Dubreuil, the Canadian. Olympic medalist in the 1,000, of course, on this very surface. 9th last weekend in Nagano. And Taiyo Nonomura on the outer. 9th and 10th from last weekend. Could be an interesting race between these two. And I say it could be an interesting race, but Dubreuil, he's skating with a groin injury. He said coming in that he is still skating these World Cup events, but really just to get points. And so, yeah, he's out for a Sunday cruise, really. Both arms on the back. Obviously, you hope his recovery can go well, but he is certainly feeling it. You appreciate the effort in just getting to the line. Laurent Dubreuil, though, now focuses on recovery. That's a big question mark over what he's going to do in Korea next weekend, but we'll watch the front. Taiyo Nonomura, 41.90 with the 4th fastest time at the moment, a 25.25 lap time. Just hope that Dubreuil doesn't risk further injury there, but he seems to be managing everything right there. But I'll focus back on the front. Nonomura did not have the fastest time. Through 600 meters, he will go 3rd, 1:08.89 does Taiyo Nonomura. And so not able to keep up with his teammate. And so Tatsuya Shinhama remains atop the leaderboard, surviving the first challenge. But yeah, you knew right when he was going down, Dubreuil there, that he was not really setting up for an explosive start. And knowing what he had said coming in about having a groin injury, I just hope now that he can get some recovery into that and getting him back to his best, because we know he's a fun skater to watch. Next pair, Ning Zhongyan and Tim Prinz. Ning has already brought the home fans to their feet this weekend. Silver yesterday. in the 1500.
Out the lane, representing Netherlands,
外到荷兰，
Team Prince.
Another very evenly matched pair, 7th and 8th from a week ago. Ning, really, as we know, solid in those 1500s, so I'm expecting him to be one of those skaters that comes into the race a little bit. And yeah, he has the slower opening. Prin's second fastest by 12/100ths of a second, but keep in mind that the opener was Tatsuya Shinhama, one of the quickest openers in the world right now. It's Ning skating into it. It is still Prinz at the moment. And Ning, 1500ths faster that lap time. Just hanging 1500ths back of the time set by Tatsuya Shinhama. Prinz in the lead for the moment, but Ning tucks into that inner lane. And he will come out in front, the home fans bringing him home as he drops both the arms, and he goes fastest. 107.91 by nearly 6/10 of a second. 108.29. Prinz also in the green. They go 1-2. Nice skate by Ning. He was 7th last weekend. We'll see if he can move up now. He's on pace to finish no worse than 7th anyway, so he's at least matching last weekend's result. If you're wondering how the race went, there's always those skaters who quickly let you know how they felt. So last year's World Sprint Champion. World single distances 1,000 was Ning, by the way. And this man, I think we've reached the point where he needs no introduction. You know who he is. You know his usual finishing position. Let's see if he can just keep adding to it. Ryota Kojima of Japan, 4th a week ago. Let's see if he has what it takes to beat Stoles today. Just going to point out that last pair, Ning Zhongyan, that's a new track record for Beijing, 107.91. The previous one was Thomas Kroll, 107.92. So we have already seen a track record. That is what's going to take to go atop the leaderboard. And already Jordan Stoles, 4/10 of a second ahead of that fastest opener. Stoles, I think, what is it, 14, 15 in a row right now? He just wins races. And I said it last weekend, could he go the entire season unbeaten in every individual distance he does? Now this gets interesting. It's now down to 13/100ths of a second. Ning, his time is closing in a bit on Stoles. We'll see. Stoles does tuck into the inner lane now. He's facing a bit of a challenge. The current leading time, 107.91, being held by Ning Zhongyan of China. Does Stoles beat it? Yes, he does. Of course he does. He does it again, 107.62. Jordan Stoles by nearly 3/10 of a second. Another track record for the American. And Ning, what do I gotta do, man? What do I have to do to beat him? Summing it all up right there. Kojima did go 10th, but the legend grows. At the fast opening, the first lap wasn't the quickest in the world, but he knows what he's doing, that young man. And you wonder, will he be dislodged? Just 2 more chances. 2 pairs still to go. Prinz hanging on in 3rd right now, but let's see what these men can do. Yenning DeBow, a 20-year-old. He's been on the podium anyway. Getting a top. It's a whole other matter. Martin Leave of Estonia. 5th a weekend ago. So at least on current form anyway, DeBow perhaps presents the best chance to beat Stolz. 0.12 of a second behind Stolz yesterday in the 500 meters. Also second a week ago in the 1,000 meters, of course, to Stolz. And hey, he has the quickest opening right now. 0.12 of a second. Leave 1,500ths off the pace. Leave was 5th a week ago in the 1,000. And so DeBow, through 200 meters anyway, this is a bit of a scare. This lap will be telling, though. See if he can bank any more time. Yenning DeBow, he has a half a second to work with. The man from the Netherlands, the youngster. Now it's a battle to hang on. Leave, not far off the pace, just 100th of a second back there of Stolz' time. DeBow gets a draft. He gets the inner lane. Stolz, is he watching nervously now? Can it be? Can it be? Yenning DeBow bringing it to the line. Yenning DeBow! No, he can't do it. 107.83. 0.2 off the pace. Just tells you what a spectacular second lap that was by Jordan Stolz. And so DeBow, 0.2 of a second off the pace. Through 600 meters, he was there. So when he's coming up with his game plan at home or in the next weekend, he'll go, okay, 600 meters down. I just need that final 400 to go. That was a genuine scare. 0.2 of a second off of Stolz. And there is just one man or 2 men who could beat him. One of them is one of his own teammates. Cooper McLeod. Nice story for him a weekend ago, getting on the podium. A 23-year-old, also 4th in the 500 meters yesterday. So a young skater really finding his groove. And then that man, Kjell Nice, the veteran, 6th a weekend ago. We'll see how his style suits this ice and this race. Another one of those contrasting races. I would imagine McLeod would go out quickly. And Nice, who really has that 1,500 experience, would skate into this race. And it is McLeod with the faster opener. He's in the green by a few hundredths of a second. So if we remember Stolz' race, his first full lap wasn't exactly the quickest. He did lose time to Ning Zhongyan, but he just dropped the hammer in the final 400 meters. So we will see what kind of speed McLeod is maintaining. Nice is right there. Yeah, McLeod has 12 hundredths of a second, but he is going to have to throw down if he wants to match his teammate. McLeod, for the moment, in the lead. He gets a nice draft behind Nice. And so Kjeld Nice keeping it close with McLeod. McLeod, I think that might have been a stumble out of the corner. Nice is going to take the pair, and he will go fourth, 108.07. McLeod slips to fifth, 108.26, and that means you knew what was coming, didn't you? You knew it was coming when you saw the startless Jordan Stolz. Again, another track record, another gold medal. Well, just as we look back at this race, McLeod, another one who, through 600 meters, was seeing green. He just couldn't hang on. Yeah, a little bit of a form break coming out of that turn the last time, and the legs are starting to hurt, but there he is. Another win. Another record. And Jordan Stolz just keeps on keeping on. Celebrations in the U.S. program. And we will see him on the podium in just a moment. So the challenges are there. They're getting close, but just yet not close enough. And so he will be back, I would imagine, for the 500 meters as well tomorrow, trying to wrap up another collection. He's got 3, one more potentially to come. And just like we saw in the women's race, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Jordan Stolz, another track record. DeBow was close, 0.2 of a second, and then another 0.09 of a second adrift was Ning Zhongyan. And so the streak continues as Jordan Stolz closes in on 20 World Cup wins in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Always got to hedge that. I think I got it. Anyway, all the way on down. Medal presentations for those women's and men's 1,000 meters coming up. As you see the updated standings, a perfect 120 from Jordan Stolz. DeBow and McLeod, second and third in the overall right now. And they will resurface the ice. They will give out some medals for those 1,000 meters. And then we'll be back in just a little bit for the women's 3,000 meters. Wherever you may be around the world, take a break, get a snack, and come back and join us for more.
女士们、先生们，2024至2025赛季国际滑联速度滑冰世界杯北京站女子1000米 A 组颁奖仪式正式开始。
ISU Council Member Mr. Sergio Anasi will present medals. Deputy Director of the Beijing Sports Competitions Administration and International Exchange Center Ms. Tang Hong will present prizes.
接下来将由国际滑联理事塞尔吉奥·安内西先生颁发奖牌，由北京市体育竞赛管理和国际交流中心副主任唐红女士颁发纪念品。
Bronze medalist representing Netherlands.
铜牌获得者来自荷兰。
Andrew Devlin. Silver medalist representing Netherlands.
银牌获得者来自荷兰。
Antoinette Riepa de Jong. Golden medalist representing Japan.
金牌获得者来自日本。
Riko Tanaki. Ladies and gentlemen, now congratulations to ISU World Cup winner and medalist.
女士们、先生们，让我们一起祝贺2024至2025赛季国际滑联速度滑冰世界杯北京站的冠军和所有获奖运动员。
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the ISU World Cup Speed Skating Beijing, China 2024 to 2025, 1,000 meters men.
女士们、先生们，2024至2025赛季国际滑联速度滑冰世界杯北京站男子1000米颁奖仪式正式开始。
ISU Council Member Mr. Sergio Anasi will present medals. Chief Executive of the National Speed Skating Racing Corporation Company Limited Ms. Jing Yan will present prizes.
接下来将由国际滑联理事塞尔吉奥·安内西先生颁发奖牌， 由北京国家速滑馆经营有限责任公司董事长金岩女士颁发纪念品。
Bronze medalist representing China.
铜牌获得者来自中国宁中岩。
Silver
a few moments away from women's 3,000 meters, 8 pairs in all, 16 skaters. Well, pretty punctual. We are pretty much right on the program right now. Even Blondet, last week's winner in Nagano, out to see if she continued that streak. First pair as the 21-year-old Canadian, Laura Hall.
Here one, Illinois, representing Canada. Laura Hall.
We've already seen this woman today, Nadezhda Morozova, 26-year-old from Kazakhstan. And the 3,000 meters has become something of an interesting tactical race. Oftentimes, just like in the 5K, it's sort of long enough where someone can get a lot of success just finding a rhythm and keeping a level, flat race, not preventing much time drop-off. But more and more, the skaters these days, a lot of them go out quickly, relatively quickly, not like an all-out sprint or anything, but they go out hard, and they just kind of hang on. And so last week, that's what worked well for Blondet, the Canadian. She went out nice and quick, put up some good splits, banked some time, and then hung on, and then her time was not beaten. And for Blondet, it was her first individual 3,000 meter World Cup win in several years. Her previous one had come also in Nagano. And there's always watching these races and just see what kind of lap times they split early. So a 31.5 for Morozova early, 32.6 for Hall. Well, it is an early advantage for Morozova. When those legs go, they can go very, very quickly. So 31.7, 32.6, and so looks like Hall is banging on the 32.6 area. Morozova a little bit of a drop off in time there, but she is adding to her advantage. The young Canadian bioengineering student whose father competed in the Lillehammer Games in 1994. That oval for the Olympic Games in 94, of course, in Hamar, the Viking Spiet. Forgive me for the pronunciation. It will host the World Championships at the end of the season, the World Single Distances. Interesting note there, they had an identical lap time there, and we'll see if Morozova is able to hang on. So looks like she was employing that tactic of going out quickly and then just trying to hang on. The lap times there, 32.8 for Morozova and another 32.6 for Hall. And so now Hall starting to chew into that advantage bit by bit. And we'll see if 0.2 of a second becomes bigger chunks of time coming out of it. With 800 meters still to go, Morozova a 33.5, Hall a 33.2, and so now Hall, her time slipping off, but not as much as Morozova. She has 2 seconds to chase down. And so you can almost count on that if you're looking for a flat race, someone who doesn't have much drop-off in time, Weideman and Sablikova are really your best bets. Isabel Weideman in the 4th pair, Martina Sablikova in the 6th, and a 34.2 for Morozova Hall took up about a half a second. She gets a good draft. Morozova does go over the top on the crossover, but this is just a battle to hang on right now. Keep the legs turning over. Who has more left in them? Morozova, who just did 1,000 meters not too long ago. She'll take the pair for 11.15. Hall a 4:12.26. And so Hall did eat up large chunks of time near the end, but Morozova banked that time early and then was able to hang on. A little shake of the head. Not sure she was too thrilled about the time, but she is the leader right now. Let's see how that compares. Second pair, Han Mei of China and Sandrine Tass of Belgium. Tass, at least in individual distances, often going in the B division. We do see her mixing it up on mass start, mind you. Now, Tass last weekend was second in the B division in the 3,000 meters. On May from Hohhot in Inner Mongolia, and so that's up in the north of China. And Tass, who is from Ostend in Belgium. That is right along the coast, really. Not far, just due east of, or due west rather, of Bruges. But yeah, it's right along. Is that the North Sea? It's almost the English Channel, really. Anyway. Just looking at these times that we've had. And so, the leader after one pair, Nadezhda Morozova, she has a 4:11.15. The track record is Irina Schouten, 3:56.93. So not terribly close to it right now. Morozova was about 11.5 seconds off of her own personal best time. So we'll see how other skaters compare. Both are in the green right now with 4 laps to go. Both lapping low to mid 32s. Tass's own personal best is a 4:06.15. Not challenging that at the moment. And at the moment it is Han Mei, the 26-year-old, in front right now. By almost a second. Tass still in the green. By a quarter of a second, and her laps are into the 33s now. Han still going at 32.7. Han last weekend was 12th in this race. Tass was second in the B division. And in the B division in the 3,000 meters, they do quads. And so there are 2 pairs on the ice at the same time. And so the times skated there are always sort of taken with a grain of salt, because There's a bit of a wind tunnel effect that gets created with so many skaters out on the ice, and so almost sucks them on a little bit more. Han still hanging on to the 32-second lap times. Both the skaters are in the green. Han buoyed on by the home crowd. 1 lap to go. 33.6 that lap time. 33.5 for Tass, and so Sandrine Tass almost a 33.6. Just a little bit quicker. I think there's too much room for her to close up on the final corner. And so Han Mei gets the home crowd to bring her home. Nice race by Tass to close it up a little bit. Han will go top the leaderboard by 2.5 seconds, 4:08.60 and 4:09.67 for Tass, also in the green, and they are 1-2 right now. Third pair, as you can see, Yang Bin-yu, another home country skater, 22-year-old, against Merel Konijn of the Netherlands. These two skaters were 10th and 11th, respectively, last weekend in Nagano, with about 9/10 of a second separating them, so could be an interesting pair here. We'll see what Yang's knowledge of the ice in Beijing is like. Different air pressures. You glide differently, there's a different feel to it, and so some skaters just do better on different kinds of ice. Side by side through the early going. Skaters with long futures likely ahead of them. Yang just 22, Konijn 23. Nice draft for Yang there down that crossover. Yang, who is from Harbin. That's up in the northeast of China. There is an oval there, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's hosted a number of international events too. Yang was a top 10 in the overall distance standings last season on World Cup distance, combines the 3 and the 5K points for women. Also possible that we see Yang in the mass start. She's mixed that up in there before. Team pursuit as well for her, possibility. Very smooth. Yang, not really, there's not a lot of noise in her skating. She's keeping the body together, a lot of flow. Konijn really gets the arm swing up there to drive those legs out. And always interesting to see the different styles of skaters. And so it's Yang Bin-yu at the moment. Both arms on the back for both skaters. 1,200 meters to go, both well in the green. Have time to work with. Konine a 32-0, Yang a 32-5. Could Miro Konine be finding that shift? Certainly, you are skating against another skater, but it is your own race. No point senselessly burning matches if you're trying to chase down another skater. But there are those coaches with the lap boards. And they get to shout a few words, and it's Konine now very much in the ascendancy, taking 9/10 of a second out from Yang, and this looks like it is Miro Konine's to lose at the moment. A little bit of a grimace, I think. The mouth open a little bit. One lap to go. Konine, 32-4 the lap time, 33-8. Big drop off for Yang. So she is trying to hang on. She has second place. Looking at the moment pretty comfortable. 2 seconds away from the next closest time. But Miro Konine is putting in a shift. 23-year-old skater from the Netherlands, Miro Konine, now taking this one, going away. It looks like she will go first provisionally. And indeed, 4:03.33, a last lap there, 32:06. 4:07.18 for Yang. She does go second. So a 4:03.33. Not too far off her personal best. Her personal best was a 3:59.21. So it's closer to her PB than what largely what the other skaters have done. They've had almost all double digits for the most part from their best time. No, not for the most part. A couple have been a few seconds away. So Miro Konine, for the moment, atop the leaderboard. But pretty solid challenge coming in. Francesca Lollobrigida of Italy, 33-year-old, and Isabel Weideman. Silver medalist in this distance. That was one with very mic'd up coach there, or whoever it was shouting encouragement. Lollobrigida, winner of the B division in the 3,000 meters a week ago. Of course, I always like to point out Laurent Dubreuil having to juggle training and father duty. Francesca Lollobrigida has to juggle training with mom duty. Has a young son. I don't think he made the trip to China this time around. She has brought him on a few of her jaunts around the world as the World Cup circuit goes. And she is in the lead for the moment. I imagine, of course, we'll see Francesca Lollobrigida in the mass start as well. Weideman, along with Valérie Maltais and Ivany Blondin, make up that great, fearsome Canadian team pursuit side. They did not podium last weekend. I think they made a change to the lineup as well. Let's see how they're lapping through 1,000 meters. Lollobrigida, a 31.39. Weideman, a 31.29. So talking about skating a flat race. When I say flat, I don't mean boring. I mean consistent lap times. Weideman is really one of the skaters who does that well. Doesn't show to be at all perturbed by Francesca Lollobrigida going off into the distance early a little bit. And a 31.98 for Lollobrigida. Weideman with a 31.6. And so The momentum really tipping towards Isabel Weideman. Lola Brigida will get a nice little draft there down the backstretch. Yeah, she is really milking that one. And then picks up, gets in the draft, and then picks up the turnover a little bit just to get her set up for that corner. And Lola Brigida still out in front, but only just. Weideman pulling back almost half a second there. And so you just kind of feel that it is imminent. And yeah, Weideman's going to get a bit of a draft on the crossover. She will tuck in to that inner lane, and we'll see if that is all she wrote, at least for this pair. Now it is Weideman leading with 2 laps to go. A 31.7 for Weideman, a 32.3 for Lola Brigida. And so there's not going to be much of a draft for Lola Brigida this time, as Weideman is really putting in her shift now. And it is the Canadian right now, Isabel Weideman, with 1 lap to go. Check this lap time, 32.02. It's the first time into the 32-second range. Lola Brigida at about a 32.5. So Weideman nearly 2 seconds to work with, going over the top on that crossover, and not even really giving a chance for Lola Brigida to tuck into the draft. Weideman just goes right to the inside. And inside 100 meters now, looks like Isabel Weideman will be the new leader. We'll see how long this time stands up. Weideman, final few strides. And she will go 4:02.02. Lola Brigida 4:03.43. And so first and third from that pair. Nobody really showing much out of that one. I always like to check to see if there's someone really pumped about a finish or a shake of the head. Both of them just, all right, that one's done. Moving on to the next. That is halfway through the women's 3,000 meters. And it's Isabel Weideman, the Canadian, atop the leaderboard right now. Second half of the women's 3,000 meters. Sane Inatov of the Netherlands, Momoka Horikawa of Japan. Just comparing these two with Weideman from a week ago. Inatov was 7th, Horikawa was 8th, Weideman was 9th. And so Inatov was about 9/10 of a second quicker than Weideman. Horikawa was, I'm going to say, about 6/10 of a second faster than Weideman. So we'll see how they match up. Of course, tactics can just change so differently. And skaters respond differently on a different day, and so very close between those three a week ago. We'll see how it matches up right now. Opening few laps, 600 meters in. We'll see what they've got down, a 36.5 and a 39.1 for Inatov. Inatov, who's from eastern portion of the Netherlands, closer to the border with Germany. Anyway, Inatov has done some training in Japan. She joined what was called Team Gold Project with Miho Takagi. And that involved training at the Oval in Obihito, which is largely the center of the Japanese program these days, despite the fact that they raced in Nagano a week ago. Let's check these lap times now. Inatov going a 31.6, a 32.1 for Horikawa. It's maybe a bit early to be in the 32s for Horikawa. I'm not sure she's feeling it today. Of course, this could all be going to plan for her. Just see how each lap progresses. But for the moment, Sane Inatov in charge right now. Horikawa, talking about that Obihito Oval. Horikawa is from Hokkaido, part of Japan that is closest to that facility. She did win gold in this distance on 4 continents. She is a former World Junior Champion, is Momoka Horikawa, so she knows how to time herself. She knows how to pace a race. We'll see if it's all part of the plan, if she's just not feeling it today. That is a pretty big gap right now. 2 laps to go. Inatov now slipping into second. She's into the 32s. Horikawa is at a 32.3, and with a couple laps to go, nearly 3 seconds is a bit too much to pull back. Possibly. You never know. And it is still Inatov in front, looking like she is taking this one going away at the bell. Her last lap time there, 32.6, and so she's a second off the pace. So Weideman looking like she will survive a first challenge, and that's against 2 skaters that beat her a week ago. So she knows she will jump up at least 2 spots. And it will be Sane Inatov taking the pair. And she goes 4th. Horikawa to 5th. 4.367 is Inatov's time. And there's Francesca Lollobrigida sitting. Didn't really pay attention to that one. Now this one will be a next interesting pair as we look back on the one we just had. Three more to go, including the likes of Ragnar Wiklund, Marika Groenewald, Evanie Blondin. There is Isabel Weideman, and in the next pair, also plenty of strong skaters. Plenty. 2. Both very good skaters. One of them, one of the best ever. There they are. Joy Buna and Martina Sablikova. Buna, of course, the defending 5,000 meter world champion. Sablikova, a woman who's won, well, just about everything in speed skating. 37-year-old from Nove Mesto, that's in Moravia, southeast of Prague. Young speed skaters might see her skating for Czechia and ask, hey, were you born in Czechia? And she'd say, no, I was born in Czechoslovakia. And young skaters might go, well, what's that? And then we get into a history lesson. Anyway, she's a well-experienced skater, but when I talk about skating consistent lap times, there are few better. Her face is just almost set. She does not show when she's fatigued often. When she's exhausted, she just locks in and goes. And that's why Martina Sablikova is one of the all-time greats, both in the green in the early going. A week ago, Buna third in the 3,000 meters. Sablikova was fourth. They are both chasing the time set by Isabel Weideman at the moment. Two pairs still to come. 4,000 meters, it's Buna with a 30.75. Sablikova a 31.67. So Buna already banking some good time. The woman from Born, it's in the eastern part of the Netherlands, also near the German border. So it's often the case, a lot of Dutch people near that German border, they also happen to speak German as well. Buna with a 31.4, Sablikova a 32.2. Not sure it's part of the plan to get into the 32s already. Sablikova, of course, may prefer a 5K race, just a chance to really set a tempo that she can maintain, where these days, talking about it earlier, the 3,000 meters, a lot of skaters go out quickly and then just try to hang on. And so Buna, 32.11, a 32.13 for Sablikova. So now they're lapping very evenly. And Buna, though, into the 32s. And coming up to 2 laps to go. Buna, 32.31 that lap time, so the lead is coming down. It's now inside 9/10 of a second. Sablikova seems to have a time locked in there of the 32.35. So what is left for Joy Buna? The time to beat belongs to the Canadian Isabel Weideman. There is the bell going, and the lead is now down to just under 4/10 of a second. Sablikova not really a factor right now, a 32.69 that time, but Buna is scrapping just to hang on. Weideman has got to probably be watching this one. Her time, 4:02.02, is the time to beat. Can Buna match it? It is going to be close. She goes. Yes, she hangs on. 4:01.90. And so by the skin of her teeth, Joy Buna hangs on to the lead. Just a head tilt, yeah, that was fine. So Weideman debriefing. Nice race from Buna, really going out hard and then hanging on to move atop the leaderboard. So that's a readjustment right now. It is Buna now. Second is Weideman. And third is still Merel Konijn of the Netherlands. 4:01.90. Just again pointing at Irena Souten's track record, 3:56.93. Does not appear to be in danger right now. As we come to the final few pairs. And it's two skaters who are often rivals and will likely resume that rivalry tomorrow in mass start. Valerie Malte and Marijke Groenewoud of the Netherlands.
来到女子3000米，以7组得奖的选手，来自加拿大90年出生的加拿大名将瓦莱。
So a week ago, these two skaters also very close in the standings, 5th and 6th overall. Chris Groenewold went on to win the mass start. Malte coming from a short track a number of years ago. Groenewold, two-time mass start world champion. She is diving in here into the women's 3,000 meters. She's in the green early at 29.97. I think that might be the first time we've seen someone go under 30 seconds. Of course, hitting that time is one thing. Keeping it there is something else. And pacing, very, very important. Groenewold chasing her teammate Joy Buna. They were 1 and 2 also at the World All-Round Championships in Inzel at the end of last season. That wrapped things up for the year. Very even lap times there, and both of them in the red. Groenewold getting a bit of a draft there behind Malte. Malte is 34, so unless she becomes a Martina Sablikova and keeps going into her later 30s, Malte may be looking at Milan as perhaps the swan song. Malte is married to former Canadian speed skater Jordan Belchos, who just retired in the off-season. It is Groenewold still in front right now by just a little bit. It might even be Malte. Can't really tell from that angle. It's close anyway. Coming up to 3 to go, and Malte a 31.8, 32.16 for Groenewold. Couple tenths of a second between them, second and third right now. See whose face is giving something away, who's got the poker face, who's really feeling it, and who's trying to shield it. It is Groenewold in front right now with 2 to go. She is still hanging on to second, a 32.4 that lap time. 3.5 tenths of a second off the pace currently set by Joy Buna. Slight grimace, I believe. I thought I saw teeth. Just finding that turnover, keeping it smooth as possible. 1 lap to go. Groenewold slips to third now, a 32.9 that time. Malte a 33.2. So she's dipping into the 33s, and now this is going to be an interesting crossover. Ew, nervy moment, but everybody gets through. It is Groenewold. She's slipped to third. At the last time check, we'll see what kind of finish she has to close it all back. And it is going to be Groenewold. I don't think she'll see the top 2. She will slip to 4th in the end. So Groenewold with a 4:03.40. 33.5 last lap. That means Buna still tops the leaderboard. Weideman in second, and Konine in third. Dutch 1 and 3. With just one final pair to go. So Groenewold, I imagine, will be looking to get things back for the mass start tomorrow. Last pair has Ragna Wiklund of Norway, 24-year-old from Oslo. Runner-up a week ago. Looks like she's back on form, and to her right, the winner from a week ago, the Canadian veteran Evany Blondin. So Blondin, I think the stat was last weekend Canada came away with 4 medals from Nagano. 3 of them had involvement by Evany Blondin. There was this race, the 3K, there was a silver in the mass start, and then there was a medal in the mixed gender relay as well. So proving her worth to that Canadian program for sure. But it's looking like Isabel Weideman could get on the podium depending on how this one goes. Ragnar Wiklund back looking almost at her best. The 24-year-old. Wiklund, who has taken some studies in data science at the Norwegian University of Life Sciences. Also does some running in the off-season, some orienteering as well. And if you don't know what orienteering is, it's a fun sport. It's essentially finding checkpoints on a map using a compass, and if you have a fun little city to run around in, I've seen some in France, and it seems like it's a lot of fun. Anyway, let's get back to speed skating. Wiklund, 30.5 second that lap time. Both of them just a little bit in the red. But we do know from last weekend that Blondin went out quickly and just tried to dance and just hung on. Whether that is the same tactic on this ice, different facility, different surface, remains to be seen. Now both of them in the red, almost identical lap times. Both of them in the green, pardon me. Both of them 30.9-ish. It's Wiklund by about a quarter of a second right now. She's following Blondin as much as possible there. Contrasting styles. Blondin with one arm going. Wiklund both arms on the back. Very smooth. Wiklund does look pretty good right now. Still in the green. A 31.1 lap time. 1.5 seconds now advantage. Blondin dipping to a 31.7. Blondin goes both arms behind the back. She has been dropping the arm a little bit more, but Wiklund, both arms on the back, round the corner. Looking very, very smooth. 2 to go. How much time does she have in the bank now? 2.3 seconds. A 31.4 for Wiklund. Blondin hanging on to second right now by about 0.6 of a second. See if Wiklund starts to pump the arms a little bit, if she's just happy to keep the legs going. She is. This one looking like it's more and more going to be Ragnar Wiklund's day. Blondin fighting tooth and nail to hang on. 1 lap to go. How much time does Ragnar Wiklund have to work with? 2.6 seconds. The woman from Oslo eyeing the top of the podium, inside 400 meters to go. Blondin now into the red, looking like she is slipping to third place and trying to hang on to the podium. Little wobble there from Wiklund, or the back anyway. And Wiklund now gets the arm going. That will try to keep the legs going. She is now inside the final few meters. Ragnar Wiklund looking for a World Cup victory in Beijing. And she does it. 4 minutes 1-0 Ragnar Wiklund. By 1.8 seconds, Blondin slips to 8th on a 34.49 last lap. But Ragnar Wiklund hanging on for an impressive 3,000 meter World Cup victory. Just looked so measured, so smooth. Never really even had the arm going until the last little bit when the legs really were starting to feel it. But for so long, she was just so smooth, skating her own race, a solid tempo. And a lovely race for Ragnar Weekland. And second goes to Joy Buna. And Isabel Weideman, the Canadian, hanging on for third. Miro Konine fourth, Marijke Groenewoud fifth. So Dutch skaters second, fourth, fifth, and seventh. But all of them looking up at Ragnar Weekland of Norway. And the updated distance standings. Weekland 1, Buna 2, Blondin 3. And they are out. The ice resurfacing machines gonna take a quick break, wrapping things up with the 5,000 meters for men in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Men's 5,000 meters now. 8 pairs, 16 skaters. Lots to talk about in this one. Lots to look at. So you're looking at Davide Giotto there in the last pair. An early warning to the rest of the field that he is on some amazing form. Track record in Nagano in the 5,000 meters. Of course, that follows his, I think it's still listed as an unofficial world record in the 10K because he did that at a non-officially official international event. There wasn't drug testing there or anything, so it's not a new world record, but Davide Giotto is on form. First pair though, Helge Ingebroten of Norway and Marcel Bosker of the Netherlands. Ingebroten last weekend finishing in 13th place. Bosker did the B division last week. So the man born in Zofingen, which is in Switzerland, racing for the Netherlands. Bosker going from B to A this weekend. Other things I'm going to watch for. Timothy Lubino, the Frenchman who won the mass start a week ago. I got to call a few of those mass start races a year ago, and Lubino was always one of those animators, one of those guys who went out on the attack and would be valiant in his race, but then would be caught pretty close to the line. So I didn't call last week, but when I saw that he'd won, I said, I bet he went out on the attack. And sure enough, he had. So Timothy Lubino in the second pair. Certainly another one to watch is Metode Gilek, the latest skater out of Czechia, who's turning a few heads. The young 18-year-old knocking down some pretty quick time. So he goes in the fourth pair against Chris Huizinga of the Netherlands. And then we'll see if the revival of Bo Snelling continues, second in the 5K a week ago. One-time overall distances World Cup winner. We'll see if he continues his hot skating in Beijing. Can't forget about this race either. It is Ingebroten in front right now. 29.83 lap time, 29.9 for Bosker. It was about a second off the pace. Bosker will get sucked along there a little bit, but officially it's Ingebroten going over the top on that crossover. When I say over the top, it means you're coming out of the outer lane, going to the inner lane, and you're going, instead of chasing the skater, you are going ahead of them, so over the top essentially. Anyway, Bosker still under 30 seconds. Ingebroten going over 30 seconds that lap time. Always interesting to watch and see, is that a trend? Is there a blip, or is it a bit of form? Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the likes of Bart Swings, Ted Blumen, Graham Fish are all here as well. So lots to look for in these 5K races. And now both of the skaters back under 30 seconds. Ingebroten that time getting a nice pull down the back stretch. And again, if you're new, first of all, welcome. Second, when I'm talking about getting a pull down that back stretch, when they cross over, and the skater has a chance to draft a little bit, get into that slipstream. It's like cycling, where you're saving a lot of energy when someone else is breaking the wind resistance, and you get to float along a little bit serenely in their wake. Ingebroten a week ago was 13th. very even again, a matter of a few hundredths of a second. This Norwegian side looking for perhaps a new real standard bearer in the retirement of Sverre Lund Pedersen. The man who's odds on to take over that right now, Sander Eitrem. He goes in that last pair against Davide Giotto. Identical lap times. That's something else. And so there's Engebroten with a bit of a harder opening start, but now they are both locked in and, well, literally on that lap going stride for stride. It looks like Bosker might have closed it up with 3 to go. And how? Just 1500ths the difference. Engebroten back into the 30-second range. Bosker now. Everything tilting his way. Bosker, who's married to Melissa Wifia, another skater in that Dutch program. 2 to go. Bosker now dipping into the 30 seconds, but Engebroten now leaving a good chunk of time. He's almost into the 31s. And Bosker certainly ticking the legs over quicker of the two. And to the bell. Bosker, another 30.05. So good management from him as Engebroten goes well into the 31s, dropping big chunks of time. But Bosker is really preventing that from dropping too much. He will come around and should take the pair, just has to keep the skates blade side down. And Marcel Bosker, his personal best 6:08.90. That's not at risk, but he will go first with a 6:17.07. Last lap time there 29.63, and Engebroten fading there, finishes 6:22.28. And there is the next pair, Wu Yu of China. Get a nice ovation, I have no doubt, from the home fans. And there is Timothy Lubineau, 28-year-old from France's west coast. Lubineau from just west of Bordeaux, a bit southwest of Bordeaux, a place called Arcachon, which is known for its oyster harvesting, so from a region known for its oysters and its wine. Not too bad. Anyway, he finished second in the B division in the 5K a week ago. He was fourth in this at the World Championships in Calgary. Then also had a fifth in the B division in Calgary in Quebec City at the World Cup a little bit before. Wu, a week ago, was 12th. Wu, who is from Jinzhou, which is just east of Beijing. He was 8th overall in the distances for the men in the World Cup. And so in the distances, that's combining the 5,000 and 10K results. Early going, both of them in the green, both of them almost identical within 100th of a second. 29.50. But as you just witnessed with Hallgeir Engebroten, starting off quickly is one thing, finishing quickly is a whole other matter. No Patrick Roost for the Netherlands side for these first couple World Cups. He didn't take part in their qualifying tournament, and with the Dutch standards the way they are, he did not take part, so he is not here for these first couple World Cup events. Opens things up, certainly, but Davide Giotto certainly trying to stamp his authority in the early going. He did it a week ago. Still very even. 29.85 for Lubino, 29.91 for you. Both skaters still in the green at this point in time. And Lubino keeping both arms on the back right now. Just going out a couple hundredths a lap right now over Wu. They're about a half second between them. Both of them almost spot on 30 seconds. Wu was 17th in the World Championships in Calgary. World single distances, that is. I mentioned it earlier. This year's World single distances ends in Norway, in Hamar. And again, Lubino just adding a few more hundredths of a second. But Wu is into the red now. I think that must have been the moment where Bosker started to put in a shift. Lubino drifting way out wide to take as much time as he can in that slipstream. Lubino with 2,000 meters left. Now he's into the red. He's into the 31.9. So he and Wu are still lapping very comparatively. But both are now in the red, because that's just when Bosker put the pedal to the metal. And just started clocking some big lap times. And so Marcel Bosker may survive the first challenge at this rate, barring the unforeseen. And again, it's so interesting. Every single lap, Wu and Lubino, it's a matter of a few hundredths of a second between them. They're not lapping that differently. Lubino might have had the tactic, go out a little bit quicker and then find a tempo. They've settled on a similar tempo, but just I wonder if it was planned that Lubino would go out quicker and Wu would just skate his race. And bang on, identical there. Amazing. They're both down to third and fourth right now, but this is a duel between these two men right now. The difference was a slightly quicker start by Timothy Lubino. And you know what? I think they're going to be lapping pretty much the same here too. With 2 laps to go. Not so much. Lubino adding about 0.3 of a second. So the elastic is getting a little bit more stretched. And Lubino goes over the top this time. And he's still just both arms on the back. He's doing what Ragnar Weekland did. She did most of her 3,000 meters, both arms on the back, never dropped an arm until the very end. And wouldn't you know, they're within 0.03 of a second again. I think I saw a grimace there. Lubino, the lactic, starting to feel it right now. His body is just screaming in pain right now. Now I think Wu is closing things up as we come down to the finish. It's going to be Lubino's pair. He goes 6:27.1, a 31:02 last lap time. And so they're almost 4 seconds back of Bosker's time. Second and third, Lubino shaking the head. But I imagine we will see him tomorrow in the mass start. Bosker survives the first scare. Third pair up. And it has Seitaro Ichinohe against Peter Kongsaug. Ichinohe went yesterday in the 1500 meters, skating to a 9th, a 10th last weekend in Nagano. He did pick up a bronze medal at the Four Continents to kickstart the season. That was in Hachinohe City. So, certainly interesting what Ichinohe could bring, because there is some speed with his 1500s that he does. It's just a matter of getting that endurance. And Peter Kongsaug, well, we've seen him today. He's already back. He did 1,000 meters not too long ago, finishing in 18th place. 4th in the 1500 meters yesterday. And last weekend, Kongsaug finished in 11th, right behind Seitaro Ichinohe. So, could be a pretty interesting even pair. So the difference between these two men a week ago was about 1.02 seconds. So it's not that long in a 5,000 meter race. Both of the skaters in the green right now, chasing the time set by Marcel Bosker. As we saw in the last race, really showed what kind of race he did. He did it back heavy, where he pushed it on. And so Lubino was in the green early, but then even though he was skating consistent lap times, it all just kind of evaporated on him. Still 1.2, 1.3 seconds, 0.05 of a second separating them on that last lap. Both of them still in the green. We'll see at what point it comes where they can keep going at that tempo, or if Bosker's back half was just too quick for everybody else. Another one at 29.91, 21.92. Another evenly matched pair. Just a couple hundredths of a second separating these guys, and the lead is coming down a little bit. Still over a second to work with. And side by side, stride for stride, almost in unison. Another just a hair under 30 seconds, but you see the lead comes down another couple tenths of a second. And again, another even lap. Ichinohe with a slight advantage, and yeah, both of them a tenth of a second apart on the ice. But look at the lead, it's down to inside 4/10 of a second. I wonder what the coaches must be saying, warning that Bosker was kicking at this point. And it just looks like it's a pretty beautifully skated race for Marcel Bosker, timing in both of them identical lap times into the red now. There's just that moment that Bosker really started to floor it. And it is Ichinohe in front right now. And looking at now, yeah, it's almost a second, and it's over a second in the case of Kongshaug with 3 laps to go. And so that back half by Marcel Bosker, it's just a gauntlet thrown down. And I don't think either of these men will be coming back into it. It is Ichinohe looking the fresher of the two right now with 2 to go, but yeah, now the lead is 1.3 and nearly 2 seconds over Kongshaug. And so Bosker, that time to beat, surviving a couple challenges. He will remain atop the leaderboard, barring any untapped energy reserves that can shoot one of these men forward. But once the times really start to slip, it's difficult to get back into it. And it's now over 2 seconds. Ichinohe, Kongshaug is actually lapping faster. So ebbs and flows in this race, really. We'll see if Ichinohe is just run out of energy. Kongshaug was maybe half a second off the pace at the last lap. And while not anymore, he's in front. And Peter Kongshaug is going to take this pair, and he will go second fastest. 6:27.0, but more than 3.5 seconds off the pace. Set by Marcel Bosker. That time looking better and better every second. Bosker obviously tapping a vein of form here. As he still sits in first place, but one of his teammates is going to have something to say about it in the next pair. Chris Heisinger, but watch that inner lane. Metode Gilek, a first World Cup look. And an 18-year-old who is showing an absolute mountain of talent. at that meet in Inzel, the one where Giotto unofficially broke the 10,000 meter world record. Gilek was behind him and broke what was the world junior record, so I don't think that one's official either, but there's a lot of hubbub around this young man in front right now. Huizinga, of course, no slouch himself, the man from Groningen. Dutch champion in this distance, former world junior champion in this distance. Ninth a week ago was Chris Huizinga. Gilek, a week ago in the B division, well, he won the B division. So, just building the hype around this man. This is, I believe this is his World Cup debut in the A division. And so we'll see what Methode Gilek can do. Huizinga is 27 years old. At the moment in the lead here. Gilek. Was second at the World Juniors in Hachinohe City in the 5,000 meters last season. Overall winner in the 3,000 meters on Junior World Cup and in the mass start. He's trailing right now. It's Chris Huizinga. At least in the early going, saying, "Look out, young man. This is how we do it in the pros." Interesting at this point. First and third fastest. Both in the green, though, compared to Marcel Bosker. We are 2,200 meters, and Huizinga looking very sharp. 29.17. Gilek, though, 29.28. Now they both are sitting 1 and 2. But was this the moment that Bosker turned it on? Huizinga, though, looking very smooth. Both arms behind the back. Very quiet there. His shoulders aren't moving around. Very, very smooth. And he has 4 seconds in the bank on his teammate. Another 29.21. Gilek at 29.43. Bosker adding to his lead bit by bit in the pair. Huizinga now 4.5 seconds to the good. A 29.15. Gilek losing time to Huizinga, but a 29.5. He's still sitting in second right now. We would have been right around this time that Bosker would have been putting in those negative splits. And it is still Huizinga looking very comfortable, very in control right now. He's now 5 seconds clear. But look at that. Gilek lapping faster by 0.09 of a second. It's a small chunk of time, but he's now lurking in the background. Still 4 pairs to go after this. Huizinga, 3 to go. And he puts in another 29.37, 29.39 for Gilek. These two men odds on right now to put up the top 2 times. Wouldn't that be something for Gilek to win the B division a week ago and then put up a Really quick time here in the A division. Heisinger still in front. Down to 2. Let's see what he goes. He does another 29.73. 5.5 seconds to work with. And oh, look at this. 29.57. Gilek taking, I mean, it's a couple tenths of a second. But if there's something in the legs that goes with Heisinger, it's not that far off. Anyway, I'm watching in the front. Heisinger is looking good. He is not showing any sign of slowing down. 1 to go. And he puts a 30 plus for the first time, and that's half a second now that Gilek has. There's still a second and a half that Heisinger has. Now it's looking a little bit more labored. The shoulder's definitely rocking side to side now. He really does look smooth though, doesn't he? It is going to be Heisinger taking the pair. Gilek closing it up a little bit. Heisinger will go 6:12.08, 6:12.99 for Gilek. He took out 0.6 of a second on that last lap. So Heisinger hangs on to go P1, but that was quite the announcement on the world stage by Metode Gilek, letting people know that he's here to stay. Heisinger going out very quickly, very impressively. Lost a little bit of time as things progressed, but he hung on nicely to go first for now. Next pair, Michele Malfatti of Italy, Casey Dawson of the United States. Now these two men last weekend finished 7th and 8th. There was just, let me just quickly add it up, 0.3 of a second separating them on time. Their personal best is about 17 hundredths of a second difference. And so these could be very two evenly matched skaters. And jumping back to that last race, may or may not come as a surprise to you, Metode Gilek with a new personal best time. It was 6:15.63. It's now 6:12.99. And so, I mean, at that age, when you're 18, you're putting up personal best almost every time. But he had Chris Heisinger in front of him, the rabbit a little bit, the carrot dangling in front to chase. And that propelled him to new heights and second on the leaderboard right now. Very even openings for these two men, Dawson and Malfatti. Malfatti from Trento, which is up in the north. You're getting into the mountains there in Italy. Of course, about a year and a half away, less than that now, about 16 months is it, until the Olympic Games in Milan. Now that Paris is in the books, all eyes on the next Winter Games, and the final full season before the Olympic year is certainly heavy with preparations and a lot to start to iron out, start piecing together. Is Malfatti in front right now. Let's see what they're lapping right now. They are going 29.65, 29.93, so they're a healthy chunk off the pace right now. That, of course, belongs to Chris Heisinger. At the moment, it is Netherlands 1, Czechia 2, Netherlands 3 as Marcel Bosker's time is holding up for third right now. Malfatti still going 29.65, still 29.9s for Dawson. They're 6th and 10th fastest at the moment, respectively. Thing with these races is who's looking smooth, who's not looking labored, who's making it look easy. So much leg burn, so much lactic, because I mean, when you're in this position, you're essentially squatting. And if you've ever done leg squats, well, you know it's difficult to keep them going for this long. It is still Malfatti through 3,000 meters, a 29.98 lap time. Dawson now lapping a little bit faster, closing it up just a little bit. Still very much adrift from the time set by Chris Heisinger. Malfatti into the 30s for the first time. So does Casey Dawson, 31.3, 30.21. Dawson, the 24-year-old from Park City, Utah. Of course, that speed skating oval there, the legacy of the O2 games. It's like a vacuum for young athletes. Training center for speed skaters from across the country. And then Salt Lake City will host another Olympics as well. So that famed fastest ice in the world in Salt Lake really proving its worth right now. Malfatti coming up to 2 laps to go. Can he get it back into the 29s? Well, Dawson can. Malfatti just hanging on. It's about a quarter of a second difference, and this could be a lap where Dawson gets right up on Malfatti. This one, it could be a drag race to the finish. Now it's Dawson shifting in front. For the first time in a long time, it's Casey Dawson in front. At the bell, he goes a 29.7, Malfatti a 31.5, and now it's Dawson who could be going away with this one. The pain is written all over Michele Malfatti's pace. He just wants to get to the finish line. Inside 200 meters to go. The suffering is almost over. Dawson also with a big grimace. Just get to the line is the cry. And take challenge the leaderboard. He does not. 6:17.97. Not a bad last lap for him. 29.80. Malfatti goes to 5th. A 6:18.72. Some pretty heavy hitters coming up in the final 3 pairs, but the top of the leaderboard remains the same after this challenge. Sergeant Bo Snellink of the Netherlands in the next pair, going up against Bart Swings. Snelling still just 23 years of age. I talked about World Cup overall classification winner in the distances. That's 5 and 10K in the 2022-23 season. Really didn't have as heavy a workload last year. So when he came back last weekend, we sort of asked the question, well, what are we going to get? And he proved some early returns, certainly. Picked up a silver medal in the 5,000 meters behind Davide Giotto. That storied Dutch program, a long list of greats. Patrick Roost isn't even here. And in the early going, low 29s, no panic just yet. But Snelling really taking all of that draft, staying very far wide until almost the final second. And he ducked right into the corner. Inside line, really maximizing that draft on the crossover. And that might be a pretty good difference right now. He's into the 28.7s right now. Over 0.2 of a second to the good. Swings about a half second off the pace. Still a long way to go, obviously, but through 1,400 meters, Snelling has 0.7 of a second tucked away. Another lap time under 29 seconds. I believe he's the only one who's done it so far. Another lap. I think he lost a bit there. 29.31. Just under 0.6 of a second swings. Perhaps consolidating a little bit, finding his tempo. 29.60. The defending mass start gold medalist. Olympic gold medalist from this very ice. Swings though 33 years old. As we saw last weekend, there are plenty of challengers in that mass start field. Timothy Lubino wanting to be the next to be mentioned among the top in the world in the mass start. But anyway, Swings is out here in the 5,000 meters now. 2,600 meters, Bo Snelling. It's really on the knife edge. 3,500s is not a ton of time to have as an advantage. There's a long, long way to go. He has his teammate in third. Does Bo Snelling. And it's just down to 0.04 of a second. 29.47. And so is this the last lap we see him in the green? Snelling was second a week ago. Bit by bit, that lead has been chipped away on. And now it's in the red. Snelling goes at 29.5 and is now down almost 1/4 of a second. Swings is sitting in fourth. it is still Chris Huizinga atop the leaderboard. Snelling finished second to Huizinga at the Dutch Championships back in October. He was obviously faster last week. Swings now into the 30 seconds, and what point do we start to look and go, okay, maybe even Metode Gilek's second place will survive the scare. Coming up to 2 laps to go. Huizinga a quarter of a second off the pace. We do know Huizinga did lose a bit of time near the end. Gilek did pick up the tempo. So we'll see where Snelling lies. Does he have enough in him to make a charge late? And he will come up to get the bell. Snelling, 400 meters. He's back in the green. 29.75 the last lap time. So as his teammate faded a little bit, Huizinga, Snelling still does have something in reserve, but there is not much in it. It's 0.05 of a second. You can't see what's in the eyes. The glasses are tinting those, but I'm sure there's a lot of fatigue he's covering. Here comes Bo Snelling trying to chase down his teammate, and he does by 0.4 of a second. He was almost checking the finish line before he crossed it. But a 29.83 final lap time. And Bo Snelling goes up into the lead, pushing Huizinga to second and Gilek to third. Good race from Snelling. Time started to drift a little bit, but looks like he stuck to his game plan and finished well. And it's atop the leaderboard. So Dutch 1, 2, and 4. Just the skater from Czechia breaking things up. 2 pairs to go. An all-Canadian battle coming up. Ted-Jan Blumen, a veteran, and Graham Fish. Fish just off the podium a week ago. Blumen was 6th. 2 guys who are probably very used to skating with one another, training together on that oval in Calgary. Blumen, who's staked the early lead through 600 meters. Blumen also 4th in the 5,000 meters in 4 continents. That was in Hachinohe City in Japan. Fish won that 4 continents. That is going to be interesting. Of course, Blumen, in speed skating terms, is, well, he's one of the older skaters. I wouldn't want to say he's far and away like Methuselah or anything, but he's had a few Olympics in him, as we know, an Olympic champion, former world champion, Olympic champion in the 10K from Pyeongchang. And one has to wonder just what is left in those legs. I'm sure they can survive another 14 months. But the 38-year-old, originally from Leiderdorp in the Netherlands, well, he might be one of a number of Canadian skaters looking at what might happen after those Olympics in Milan. A lot of Canadians are in the low to mid 30s range. Blumen still in front by 1.8 seconds, still pulling out just over a quarter of a second that lap on Fish. But big time changes can come in the back half of the race. But if there is anyone who knows how to pace himself, it's the man who's done this probably hundreds, maybe thousands of times, Ted-Jan Blumen, 29.66 the lap time. Putting out almost another 2/10 on his younger teammate. Both of these men have held world records. The current track record, I should note, it is a 6:15.17. That was set. Pardon me, 6:08.84. I was looking at last week. Anyway, this week, 6:08.84 is held by Niels van der Poel. This is also the rink, of course, where he has the track record in this one, not the world record. The world record is 6:01.56 by Niels van der Poel. The track record was set during the 2022 games. Fish 5 seconds adrift. They're lapping almost identically now. And is this the moment will Fish start to come back here? Blumen has banked a lot of time. He's got a lot of time to work with. So just looking, the current leading time is about 3 seconds off the pace set by Niels van der Poel. 29.91, 29.77. So Fish is taking little nibbles of time out right now. It's not going to be enough, barring any spectacular claps from Blumen or any spectacular surge from Graham Fish, I don't think. And with 3 laps to go, 30.27, 29.82. And so, well, nearly half a second chunked out right there. Blumen still sitting with the 4th fastest split through that point. Fish with the 8th. And down to 2. Blumen going with a 30.36, 30.11. So just a quarter of a second taken out there. Fish has just over a second to chase down, so it's feasible, it's possible. And we'll see what's left in the tank. Ted-Jan Blumen, vastly experienced Canadian, with 1 to go. And he goes a 35.8, a 29.86 for Fish. And so, this one's going to be close, isn't it? Blumen trying to scrap for every last bit of draft he can get. I think Fish is in the ascendancy. And did he time it right to just jump ahead of his teammate at the line? He has. Graham Fish. I said he wasn't going to do it. He is going to do it. He's going to take the pair. He will be off the leaderboard. 6:17, 6:2, 6:18.08. 5th and 7th for the moment. So a well-skated race from Graham Fish. Just not going to match his 4th place from a week ago. That leaves just one pair to go, and based on last week's results, maybe best for last. Am I allowed to say that? Davide Giotto, Sander Eitrem, 1st and 3rd last weekend in Nagano. Giotto with a track record at the M-Wave. Norwegian distance skaters already do have one gold medal today. Ragnar Wiklund in the women's 3,000 meters. Sander Eitrem would certainly like to join her. Giotto, we'll see how much that form can carry over from one week to the next. Eitrem was one place behind Giotto at the World Championships as well, and at least in the early going, there's 1/100th of a second separating them on that lap. Younger skater like Eitrem, you have to wonder, can he keep a lid on the emotion, the perhaps excitement of being close to a skater like Giotto and saving it for the end, not going out too quickly. All good right now, just 100th of a second separating the two. They are both in the green. Just imagine repeating in your head, skate my race, skate my race, skate my race. Eitrem, the Norwegian Championships. He won the 1,000, the 1,500 meters, and the 5,000. Let's see, what's the gap now? Eitrem, I think by a tiny bit, 300ths of a second, 200 separating them there. Still 9 laps to go, but this is shaping up to be an absolute barn burner. One bad lap, though, is all it takes to throw it all off, but virtually side by side so far right now, and it's going to be Giotto right now. At what point does Giotto turn the screws a little bit? Under 29 that time. Eitrem just over 29. Just again, casting an eye over to that track record, 6:08.84. It would be almost 4 seconds ahead of the current leading time, so I would think it would happen, but you never know. These two men are 1.2 seconds ahead right now. How much more do they have left? Eitrem now is the one under 29 seconds. Back and forth. It's punch and counter punch right now. Under Eitrem, Giotto again virtually side by side. It's Giotto still in front. 0.08 of a second separating these two men. Giotto wanting to prove he is still the man to beat in distance speed skating. Right now, he has thrown down some times in the early going this season. And now it looks like it tilts a little bit back to Itrem. Just 13/100ths of a second separating them. Itrem knocking out 2/10 that lap. There is no panic in Gyoto right now. Both arms on the back, just a smooth tempo. Itrem leading again. Now we're coming down to the decisive few laps. It's Itrem in front. Sander Itrem, if I'm not mistaken, has never won a World Cup. He was 4th in the overall on the distances. Well, he's 4th in the overall right now in the distances. He was 11th last season. Certainly a man in the ascendancy. Itrem knocking out 12/100ths of a second with 3 laps to go. Might be pulling a fast one on Davide Ghiotto. Or is there a charge coming from the Italian? Not just yet. He has him within eyesight. And right there, maybe a stride behind. Itrem has added a bit to that lead. Ghiotto losing 9/100ths of a second there. But both of these men are in the green. And Itrem's going to get a great draft down that back stretch before getting into the inner lane. Is this his moment? Could the Norwegians be going for the distance double? Sander Itrem, 1 lap to go. He has a good advantage over Davide Ghiotto. He's added another 12/100ths of a second. Oh, the agony's on his face now. The mouth is open, trying to suck in whatever air he can. Sander Itrem trying to hang on. The man in the Azzurri kit trying to make the surge late. Ghiotto is not going to do it. Sander Itrem will not be denied today. It's going to be Norwegian distance double. Itrem 6:09.48. He gets gold. Ghiotto in second with a 6:10.04, and Bo Snelling will be on the podium again, back-to-back weeks for the man from the Netherlands. But welcome to the conversation, Sander Itrem. What a race that was. Back and forth they went, just going toe-to-toe. And eventually there was that little shift, and Itrem just had the legs that little bit more. Why do I feel that these men are going to be battling again and again and again, not just this season? Bronze medal for Snelling, pardon me, back-to-back weeks on the podium. Ghiotto will have to settle for silver after winning last weekend. He still will be the overall leader in the distances. But Norway, the double distance. Weekland and Itrem. Well deserved by him. He'll be back in a few moments to get his gold medal. Ghiotto back to the drawing board for another week to see if he can't get back atop the podium. There are the results. Giotto and Eitrem and Snellick 1, 2, and 3 atop the distance leaderboard right now. One more day to come in Beijing before the shift to North America in January. Calgary will host the next World Cup stop at the end of January. I'll just take a pause as they hand out those medals, and I'll be back to sign things off on day 2 in Beijing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the ISU World Cup Speed Skating Beijing, China, 2024 to 2025, 3,000 meters women.
女士们、先生们，2024至2025赛季国际滑联速度滑冰世界杯北京站女子3000米颁奖仪式正式开始。
ISU Council member Mr. Sergio Anasi will present medals. Chief Executive of the National Speed Skating Oval Operation Company Limited, Ms. Jing Yan, will present prizes.
接下来将由国际滑联理事塞尔吉奥·安内西先生颁发奖牌，由北京国家速滑馆经营有限责任公司董事长金妍女士颁发纪念品。
Bronze medalist representing Canada.
铜牌获得者来自加拿大。
Isabel Wildman. Silver medalist representing Netherlands.
荷兰银牌获得者来自荷兰。
Joy Grenade. Golden medalist representing Norway.
金牌获得者
World Cup Speed Skating Beijing, China, 2024 to 2025, 5,000 meters men.
女士们、先生们，2024至2025赛季国际滑联速度滑冰世界杯北京站男子5000米颁奖仪式正式开始。
ISU Council Member Mr. Sergio Anesi will present medals. Director of the Beijing Sports Competitions Administration and International Exchange Center Ms. Wang Ling will present prizes.
接下来将由国际滑联理事塞尔吉奥·安内西先生颁发奖牌，由北京市体育竞赛管理和国际交流中心副主任王玲女士颁发纪念品。
Bronze medalist representing Netherlands.
铜牌获得者来自荷兰。
Bo Snelling. Silver medalist representing Italy.
银牌获得者来自意大利。
Davide Giotto. Golden medalist representing Norway.
金牌获得者来自挪威。
Center Edgen. Ladies and gentlemen, our congratulations for the ISU World Cup winner and the medalists.
女士们、先生们，让我们一起祝贺2024至2025赛季国际滑联速度滑冰世界杯北京站的冠军和所有获奖运动员。
So a good day for Norway, another good day for Jordan Stolz and Miho Takagi, and that puts a bow on day 2 of the ISU Speed Skating World Cup from Beijing. One more day to come before the holiday break, and competition resumes in North America next month. But that's it for me tonight. My name is Gavin Day. Patrick Keenis back with you tomorrow. Good night, goodbye, good day.